Hi, it's Dwyer. It is November 10th, 2021. GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. Let's talk NBA basketball. Let's talk futures. But first, remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, let me just say, it's over for the Los Angeles Lakers. Right? In basketball, the odds are wrong. They have the Lakers at a plus 450 to win it all. Only the Brooklyn Nets are getting shorter odds. Right? But LeBron James is hurt. According to reports, it's an abdominal injury. Let me just say, I've watched guys age before. Right? They were in great shape, they never got hurt, and then suddenly it's these nagging injuries. Right? In LeBron's case, first it was the groin. Then, of course, he had a sprained ankle. Now he has an ab problem. Folks, stick a fork in the Lakers. I know we saw the senior citizens on that team and we thought, wow, Dwight Howard with AD, with LeBron, with Rajon Rondo, with Russell Westbrook, with Trevor Ariza, with Carmelo Anthony. And we thought, wow, this team's loaded. Those of us, of course, who remember 2013 and 2014 and 2015, folks, it's 2021. Understand, too, some of the other guys on the team have injury histories. Right? When you think of Anthony Davis, you think of Jamal Mashburn. Great talent, hasn't always been able to make it to the court. Also, right now, the Lakers, on average, are giving up more points per game than they're scoring. In other words, that defense isn't close to tightened up. Right? My advice to you is there are much better plays on the board. Understand the Golden State Warriors are a plus 750. While I'm a Warrior skeptic because I'm guessing Splash Brother, Klay Thompson, comes back, I'm guessing we're going to find out that he's lost some of his foot speed, that he's no longer the defensive stopper that he once was. I'm guessing the team's going to be patient even as they lose some games. Also, you look at the Warriors, they have a great record right now, but of course, Steph Curry is doing great things. You cannot expect a guy to go for 50 points and 10 assists every night. It's just not going to happen. And of course, there are others. Weissman, the first pick in the draft for the Warriors, not that long ago. He's out. He's coming back. They're going to have to work him into the lineup. Right? That lack of continuity is going to hurt that team. Nonetheless, the Warriors at plus 750 are much more compelling than the Lakers at plus 450. Let me say this too. I know there are analytical types who will point out that for their careers, Russell Westbrook has averaged as many boards per game as LeBron James. For their careers, Russell Westbrook has actually averaged more assists per game than LeBron James. But just understand, LeBron James lives in NBA Finals. Just count the number of conference championships LeBron has won that has gotten him to the NBA Finals. Understand, with LeBron, you're getting a certain level of awareness, a certain level of leadership. These are those intangibles that you're just not getting with Russell Westbrook. Right? Understand, too, this year, Westbrook, who hasn't been a gifted three-point shooter, has really fallen off from the three-point line. Right? He's showing some old age. He's below 30% from three as I make this video, and it matters because Westbrook insists on taking threes. Let me say this too. Everyone's your friend in the off season. You can imagine all of these guys were happy to play together. Hey, we're finally together. right? Then, of course, the season starts. And even Laker luminary Magic Johnson, who usually is all smiles, right? Magic, let's face it, is one of these corporate spokesman type. Even Magic saw Dwight Howard and AD get into a scuffle with the cameras running during a game and said that the Lakers are having chemistry problems. Right, folks? These guys don't have any sweat equity with the other players. This is the first time they've played together. They haven't been on the same team. Now that works when things are going well, when the team's winning and people are saying, wow, LA is a great place to live and win. Right? But when the team starts losing, we've already seen LeBron leave Miami. We've already seen LeBron leave Cleveland. Right? Understand, AD's from Chicago. If he doesn't like his teammates, even though he signed a big contract, hey, there are other teams that'll pay it. Right? Some of these guys could easily retire. Rajon Rondo has been in the league for years. He's won titles. Right? If things go south, Rajon Rondo might say to himself, hey, I'm well into my 30s. What am I doing here? Lakers are on thin ice. Other than the Golden State Warriors in the West, to me, the best play on the board in the West are the Utah Jazz. Folks, they were the 1 seed last year. Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion, is one of the best players in the league. You want a great defensive center? Look at Rudy Gobert's defensive history. Right? The Jazz have continuity. I feel the Jazz are in a much better position than Phoenix, where right now the owner is being accused of racism. Where right now some former players are saying, hey, I had problems with this guy. Don't kid yourself. That's going to leak onto the court. Right? Phoenix is going to win some games. The guys will be celebrating in the locker room. The press will show up. Then the press will start talking to them about racism. The owner, they won't even be able to enjoy the victory. You have no such problem with Utah. Let me also say, there are a few teams out west that have a lot of talent, but who you have to look at now and wonder. The MVP's team, the Denver Nuggets. Right? Joker, of course, won the MVP last year. Now I'm hearing Michael Porter, who has had nerve problems, who has, according to reports, a drop foot. Now we're hearing he's having back problems again. Folks, that's major. I know he's a up-and-coming young player, huge talent, right? But back problems are the kind of things that can slow down even the best of us. Didn't they get the best of Larry Bird? Didn't they get the best of Larry Johnson? Now you have a guy who had serious back problems. That's why he slid in the draft. Right? Look at his prep performance and then look at where he went in the draft. Right? You're hearing about nerve damage, past nerve damage. This is the kind of thing that you need to consider. Understand, Jamal Murray is already out. Folks, Murray and Porter, along with Joker, are really core players for the Nuggets. Right? So I was excited about the Nuggets going into the season. This Porter injury gives me pause. Even at 18-1, which is what they are right now, I'm not going to put more money on the Nuggets until I get some visibility. Let's look in the Eastern Conference. I'm a big believer that the great teams of the past have an easier time reassembling and being great in the future over teams that haven't drank from the gold chalice. Well, understand, When LeBron James got to the Lakers and they won a ring, right? I believe it's LeBron's second year with the Lakers. The team they beat were the Miami Heat. Right, folks, understand Miami, of all the teams in the league, has been to the finals more recently than most of them. Right? Obviously, Phoenix and Milwaukee have been to the finals, more recently than the Miami Heat. But understand, Miami was in the finals before that one. The core, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, they've been to the finals. Understand, too, the team culture. The team culture is so demanding that years ago, Kenyon Martin, an excellent defensive player, a guy who was picked first in the NBA draft, in the middle of his career was asked about whether he wanted to play for the Miami Heat. And Kenyon said, nah, I don't want to work that hard. They run those guys too hard in practice. Right? The Heat are in much better shape than most of the league. They pride themselves on their defense. Now understand, the Heat are off to a fast start. Folks, they were in the finals more recently than most of their competitors. The Nets, for example. The Philadelphia 76ers, for example. Now you mean to tell me that I'm getting the Heat at longer odds here than the Nets, than the Lakers, than the Warriors, than the Bucks, than the Jazz? You mean to tell me that I'm getting the Heat right now, after a fast start, on November 10th, 2021 at 14-1? You have got to be kidding me. Barring injury, and injuries can change a lot, right? You've heard me here talk about the injuries in Denver, the recent injury with Michael Porter. Injuries can change a lot, but if the Heat core stays together, right? Pat Riley is still the Svengali with Miami. I think you're getting an absolute steal with the Heat at 14-1, especially given the dysfunction with the Philadelphia 76ers. Right now we're hearing that Ben Simmons isn't cooperating with the team. He's in the building. He wants to get paid, but he's not in a rush to play and stuff like that. Now, I agree. Simmons is a talent. Who knows? Maybe during the season, the 76ers are able to trade him and get talent back. Maybe Dame. Who knows? Right? But folks, that's too speculative at this point. I like sure things. I like continuity. Right? Bam and Jimmy are so tight they make commercials together. The Miami Heat right now are one of the best defensive teams in the league. Understand Michael Jordan's core philosophy. Jordan himself, for all the scoring titles, said, look, offense comes and goes, but you should have no excuse when it comes to playing great defense. The Heat have that mindset, right? I think in the East, the Heat look more reliable to me than anyone else, right? Brooklyn's having problems. Milwaukee's having problems. Understand, too, when you look at Milwaukee, I need for people to understand that the hangover of winning a title can really decimate a team. Right? Milwaukee, personality-wise, when their backs were against the wall, when they were battling with the Brooklyn Nets in the playoffs, and they needed a win, or when they were down 2-0 in the finals against the Phoenix Suns, they bounced back. They were hungry. Now we're finding out that as a defending champion, the urgency's gone. They're not doing anything the way they used to do it. Also, Chris Middleton, he's banged up, right? Let's face it, too. Giannis is hardwired. He's not hitting a lot of threes. He's limited. He is a guy who beats you with athleticism around the basket. I don't think that's going to wear well. I think eventually the league catches up to you. The guys who succeed are the guys who are able to add things like range to their jumper. Doesn't have to be a three. It just has to be something where your defender's in the lane daring you to drive on him and you say, hey, player, I don't need to drive on you. This 15-footer is automatic. You stay under the basket, I'll hit jump shots the whole game. Giannis doesn't have that in him. Right? So to me, right now, November 10th, 2021, the team that excites me in the East are the Miami Heat. In the West, let's face it, much deeper division. Right? I'm intrigued by Golden State, but if I had to pick one team, it would be the Utah Jazz. Fortunately, I don't have to because Golden State's going off at a plus 750. Nice return there. And the Jazz are going off at a plus 800. But as this thing ages, I think we're going to find out that ensembles do better than a team where the superstar scores 50, gets 10 assists. In other words, he needed the 10 assists for them to win that night. Right? And the team gets by. Steph Curry is the reigning scoring champ in the NBA, right? He won his second scoring title last year. As great as he is, and he's clearly first ballot, he's history's only unanimous MVP. As great as Steph Curry is, I think the reason the Warriors are doing so well is because Curry is putting up MVP numbers. I prefer betting on ensembles where the team makes it happen, where you know more than the lead singer. You actually know the band, right? The drummer can carry some concerts. Folks, that's Utah. They were the 1 seed last year. They fell apart against the Clippers in the playoffs, right? Let's face it. They didn't know how to respond to the uncertainty caused by Leonard getting hurt and out, right? The Clippers started bombing threes. Utah didn't have an answer. Sometimes that uncertainty leads to catastrophe. Well, now they're back. I believe they quietly know they're the best team in the Western Conference, especially if a great young player like Michael Porter is out and can't produce. And if the NBA is investigating the owner of the team as they are in Phoenix. And if Leonard is still out, no one has a clue when he's going to return. And the Clippers have to go forward without him. Right? So right now, the futures plays, I'm accenting November 10th. And I have futures on a few teams. Are the Miami Heat 14-1 in the East? And of course, the Warriors and the Jazz at plus 750 and plus 800 in the West. The team I'm sticking a fork in are the Los Angeles Lakers. Folks, you don't lose LeBron. And understand, these abdominal injuries, especially on older players, could keep a guy out for 6 to 8 weeks. You don't lose a LeBron on a team that needs leadership, right? You have some problematical personalities, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, right? The team has no continuity. Everyone is playing together for the first time. There's only one ball to go around. And Russell Westbrook wants to take the last shot. He doesn't want to pass the ball to Carmelo even when Carmelo is hot. You take away LeBron James from that, when the team, of course, is giving up more points than it's scoring per game on average. And you're looking at a disaster. The Lakers at plus 450 are the poorest bet on the board. You mean to tell me that the best idea Vegas has right now, or at least the gamblers have that seem to be supporting this line, is to have the Lakers as favorites to coming out the West? I don't see it. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section of this video. Thanks for stopping by.